This is 365 Sports, powered by Sikkim365.com. Welcome to the Triple Option. Here's your host, Paul Catalina.
Welcome into the Triple Option. Oh, look at that. There's Pierre Noujaim in all his Minneapolis worn glory. Yeah.
That's one way to put it.
Here's the deal. Happy St. Patrick's Day, Pierre. I have been on the road quite a few St. Patrick's Days, including one I think we were on the road together in Jacksonville, Florida, that ended very prematurely.
Yes,
but we did have, and I wanted to bring this up today because it just, we're going to talk a lot about the bracket and March Madness and all that. It's one of the most fun times of year. But we've talked about this before, but we were in Jacksonville and Baylor lost to Georgia State. And in the most ridiculous fashion you could ever have seen, this was them and Yale were back-to-back years. Yep. And we were in Jacksonville and all had to go back the day early. But after the game that night, you know, we got done. We booked our flights. And then the only thing that was really open on a Thursday night in downtown Jacksonville was the Hooters.
Yes.
So we went and drank green beer at Hooters. And sadly, you know, Hooters has made some poor financial decisions and is now filing for bankruptcy. So, but I do remember that particular St. Patrick's Day or around, it was either on St. Patrick's Day, around St. Patrick's Day, because it's always the first, you know, week of the tournament, you know, whether it's the beginning of the week or the middle of the week or whatever. But yeah, I remember that very well. And then we were like, we all got to fly home tomorrow. And it did feel to me, to bring in another thing we'll talk about, that was my first little taste of what it's like to be on The Amazing Race, because we were sitting in the press room being like, hey, there's a flight at 9:30. Can you get the 9? Are you guys on the 9:30? And then like one of us like, I can't. We're like, we're on the 9:30. And then like one of the others like, oh man, I'm not leaving till noon. Like we have a 3-hour head start. My gosh, like we'll get to the detour on the roadblock before they even land. You know, like we'll be done.
It's exactly how I remember it. And we like I said, like you said, I should say, we've told this story once before. I'm going to tell it again. I'll never forget when the ball left RJ Hunter's hands. I've never had a slow motion experience in my entire life quite like that one. The moment it left his hands and I'm sitting there courtside and I'm watching the ball go up, halfway up, I'm thinking to myself, this ball is going in. I was like, this ball is going in and we're going home tomorrow. And I was not ready to go home. I didn't want to go home. And yet RJ Hunter and Georgia State crashed that part. I can't remember if that was that a 14-3 or a 13-4? I can't remember which one it was in terms of.
I think it was a 13-4.
I think that's what it was.
13-4. And it might have been a 14-3, but it was one of the bad ones. I'll tell you that.
It was
one of the bad ones. And Baylor was dominating. Years later, a couple years later, I'm in the Cowboys locker room when Rico Gathers was playing there.
Yeah.
And of course, Rico was on that team, and I can't remember. It was like a month. I mean, it was like mini camps. It was like a month and a half after the tournament, you know, and I was there and I just saw Rico and I was like, hey man, what's going on? And so I sat down at his locker and started talking to him. And I said, hey, I never got to ask you this. RJ Hunter was like 2 of 19 or something ridiculous before the last 7 minutes of that game or whatever it was. And he's like, you know what? He's like, I look back on it now and it feels like we were playing not to lose because we noticed it. Like it was one of those things where usually if you dominate a star player in any kind of game, but particularly in basketball, like, you know how many people probably lost to Michael Jordan in the day because they were like, he only has 9 points and it's the middle of the third quarter. Yeah. And they're like, we're doing a great job on him. You know, just keep it up. And like that realization that he hadn't made any shots, like talking during a no-hitter is what ruins it. Then he makes his last like 7 shots You foul him a few times. He makes all the free throws, and you lose the game by 4 points because you were like, hey, who's the GOAT now? Me. Like that kind of thing. He's like, we realized it. And he's like, but instead of being kind of proud of ourselves, we just knew, like they just knew that eventually the numbers work out. And part of the reason they knew the numbers work out is it's one of the things that Scott Drew will tell his shooters when they get down, like, hey, look, they had a guy that played here, Lace Darius Dunn. I'm sure you remember Lace Dunn. Lace Dunn, like they had to tell him a couple times when he would have like poor shooting days, like, Lace, you're not here to crash the boards. Like, we're happy when you get rebounds. Yeah. But if you miss 5 shots in a row, don't all of a sudden try to be Dennis Rodman. You're not, like, just shoot. And that was the confidence he needed to be like, I shoot. Here's another story about him. Matt Driscoll, who's the coach at North Florida, now was an assistant on the staff. And Matt Driscoll walked up to him one day and said, Lace, I just want you to know, like, you've got to be appreciative of the gifts that we all have to be appreciative of the gifts that God gives you. And, like, God gave you a gift that he's given, like, 1% of the population ever in the history of mankind, is that you can just shoot a basketball just like anything else. And Lace goes, it's what it do, coach.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Love it. So, that's the thing that coaches tell shooters, especially, is like, look, you're a shooter. The numbers are going to work out. So, like, if you're cold, don't get in your head. Just figure out what you're doing wrong and make a little change. Yeah. And RJ Hunter was such a dead-eyed shooter that you knew that he was going to get it figured out. The only hope that Baylor had once they figured that out was that there wasn't enough time. Unfortunately for them in that game, there was the exact amount of time that RJ Hunter needed, like down to the last second that he needed. His dad was the coach, Ron Hunter, and he had torn his Achilles. He's on a little scooter. They make a last-second shot, and he has to, deal with that. I remember, here's the thing. I love Scott Drew. I love him. Jerome Tang, Grant McCaslin, every coach that's come through here, Paul Mills, I love them all. I know that, we have to have kind of an unbiased thing, but, they have always been so good to me, and they're just so good at other human beings that I love them all. And so I'm very sad when they do lose. Because I know how hard they work and what kind of human beings they are. So it makes me bummed when they lose. But I also love when the underdog wins. I love when somebody like Ron Hunter, also a really good guy and a really good coach, gets to experience that moment. But I don't think, now looking back, I think I was pretty selfish about it. Yeah. Seeing as I was like, well, damn it. Yeah. Now I got to probably sit in a middle seat tomorrow on the way back. And then we got to fly into Love Field and I got to drive home. And I mean, not that Jacksonville is the kind of place you want to be for 4 days, but it's nice to just be away and doing it and getting to go to other games. The thing is not only do I not get to go to whoever Baylor is going to play, I don't get to go to both games on Saturday that's really for whatever day it was, on the weekend. The other games, which is the best part about covering the NCAA tournament, is day one of the NCAA tournament, you get to go and sit in an arena all day long and watch basketball. Mm-hmm. Then the next day, you're not really there all day. You're there half the day because there's only 2 games instead of 4, but you're still there. You end your day, or sometimes in the middle, but you spend the majority of your day watching 2 great basketball games. That's what you get to do. And then we were cheated out of that. We had a great first day. That as a matter of fact, I don't think we went to the last game because we were too busy working. Yeah. So we missed that. And then the only solace we had was Jacksonville Hooters waitresses going, "Oh, here's some more beer. You want a great, we'll put the green in it for you." I'm like, "Oh, yeah. That's thanks. When you thanks
travel,
a million."
When you travel like that, I think what you're trying to get at is when we travel like that, you want to make it worth it. It's got to be, and when you have to scramble and rebook your trip 2 days prior than what you were expecting. And that's something that a lot of people in the general public don't understand, how much our lives depend on what happens when teams win or lose. They don't really get to see the behind the curtain things that happen when teams win and lose and what that means for us. Not that they probably really care to begin with, but when you make a trip, like, absolutely want to make it worth it. And when you go out on the first day, it's absolutely heartbreaking. It's annoying. You want more. You don't want to go out on the first day of the NCAA tournament. The funny thing about that game, too, is late in the game, and I think it might have even been after the RJ Hunter shot, Rico, it's funny you bring up Rico. Rico did something. I'm trying to reach in the catacombs of my brain where I think he had a rebound. He could have easily gone back up with it, but instead passed it out when could have had an easy layup. I think that possibly could have given them a tie or retake the lead. I'd have to go back and watch the end of that film, the film on the end of that game to really remember. But that game is just still entrenched in my mind. And then you bring up the Yale game. I was gone. I moved to Sacramento at that time. I was watching the Yale game at home. And I remember
Nick Canizales and I were in Providence together.
Yes.
Let me tell you about Providence when we're done.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. I want to hear about that. But I remember after they lost that game, funny enough, after they lost that game, I might have tweeted something about that game. And it was like a matter of fact type of tweet. And somebody in the local Sacramento, I'm not even going to say that he was in the media community. He was more of a guy who wanted to be viewed as a media member, but he really wasn't, got at me and said that Baylor should fire Scott Drew. And I remember replying or quote tweeting him and saying, that is absolutely not going to happen. And let me tell you why. He is very much beloved at that program. That program was nothing. It was a complete shambles before he got there. And he could probably lose in the first round of the NCAA tournament 5-6 years in a row, and they still would not fire Scott Drew. That's how much he's well-respected and well-loved there. And sure enough, 3 or 4 years later, they win the national championship. And it's a good tale of resiliency, really, when you kind of trace it back to where it started to where they got to in 2020.
Yeah. We did, and I need to get you a link to this, but Sigum 365 did a documentary about Scott Drew, and Smokey and I's role in that was we were a couple of the outsider media observers, because we're like some of the few non-Baylor alums that are in the thing, right? So we had covered all this rise of Scott Drew and all that, and so I was at the Yale game, and I was the other thing I remember about Jacksonville was it was either Jacksonville or Providence. It was kind of raining outside. I think it was Jacksonville. It was kind of raining, and I had to go do a hit on the show after the post game was over. And so I'm going in and I'm sitting on hold, I'm waiting, and I'm listening to like 3 or 4 callers before me, talk about Scott Drew's taking this team as far as he can go. And Smokey asked me questions before we get into how this game went down. Do you guys not understand that you'd gone to the NCAA tournament since it expanded to 64 teams one time before he got here? Once. And now you're in it pretty much every year.
Yeah.
It takes time. This is not he didn't take over Duke or North Carolina or Kansas or UC. It's not taking over for John Wooden.
Or Kentucky, which he could have done last year, or even Kentucky, yeah.
Yeah, he did none of that. He didn't do any of that. But now you're sitting here complaining. I said, every single one of you who called up and did that should just never go to a game again, if that's how you feel about things. And you know what? Don't watch sports. We don't want you. You're not a productive member of the sports viewing society. This is ridiculous. Now, if you're talking about somebody who takes over for a great coach at a great program and can't maintain it, then yes. But if you take somebody, and now Scott Drew's proven it beyond proving it because of the national title. But that was wild. And then in the Providence game, same thing. Go out to do the hit. Same. I'm look, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills here, but I mean this is just how it is. You have to be realistic about things. And, the way, and I will say this, and this is, I know I'm a little pilled here, but I am married to a Kansas fan.
Right.
And one of the things I will tell you about Kansas fans And believe me, I will tell you the bad stuff too, is that they take losses harder than any fan base I have ever seen. And I'm not just talking about my wife and my brother-in-law. If you read their message boards, if you read Kansas Twitter after a loss, they take it hard. It really hurts them that they lose games. They do not, however, make crazy statements for the most part. I mean, there's a section of every fan base. I'm sure there's firebillself.com, message board people that are like, it's time. The heart attack took his brain too. He can't do it in the modern way. Well, I mean, things are different now, and everybody's figuring it out. So, but none of them, for the most part, they're like, look, he just needs to figure it out. They don't question his ability. They don't want him to quit tomorrow. Those are those things. So they have a very rational look at things, as where I will tell you that for the large part, and I've been here a long time, Baylor fans have kind of an irrational view of it. Because they don't look, I get it. You try to forget the bad things.
Yeah, sure.
You don't remember, you enjoy the success, and then once you have it, you forget how bad the failures tasted, And you're like, well, we shouldn't. You're like, man, you need to remember that, before you were eating filet every night, it was it was half a can of Beanie Weenies over a fire.
100%.
Like a hobo in the Great Depression.
It's the grass is always greener mentality that a lot of people have, not just in college sports, but in all of sports, including pro sports. And I can't tell you, honestly, I've been in Minnesota 7 years now, and I have never been in a market where I have been just absolutely surrounded by people who have the mentality of what's the next shiny new object. The moment somebody gets here, within 3 or 4 years, they cannot wait to find the next guy. They can't wait. Ben Johnson, I shouldn't say through no fault of his own, but Ben Johnson was fired last week as the men's basketball coach here at the University of Minnesota. But it is a completely no-win situation at all. The money isn't there to keep players. There's no excitement about the program. You got 400 people going to Williams Arena, which, by the way, is 1,000 years old for an arena. And there are so many different situations to where I'm thinking, even though this is D1 and even though it's in the Big Ten, and just a couple of days ago, I had Minnesota Athletic Director Mark Hoyle say to my face, try to sell me on the notion of why this is a desirable job. People think that anybody would just automatically come here. And you think, Richard Pitino was here right before Ben Johnson, and people soured on Richard Pitino, and they made the NCAA tournament in 2019, I believe it was. And that's the last time they made the tournament. Guess
who keeps making the tournament in New Mexico?
Yeah, exactly. And I understand that it's a quote unquote easier conference. You have an easier path to get to the NCAA tournament, but this program right now is in shambles, and everybody thinks that Nico Medved over at Colorado State is just automatically, because of his Minnesota ties, would covet the job and might want the job. And even though it sounds like he's probably going to be the guy that gets the job if it's offered to him, these people think, oh, we have the shiny new toy. That means we're going to be great. And then 2 or 3 years later, when you're kind of a middle of the road team in the Big Ten that you're probably going to be in a couple of years, even if you get Nico Medved, in 2 or 3 years, I'll mark it right now. They can't wait to hire the next guy. Give me the next guy. Who's the next guy? Because they just can't stand the fact that you're in the middle of the road and you're stuck maybe going to the NCAA tournament being one and done, or maybe one win at best, and you're done.
Yeah. It is weird. And we have so much to talk about when it comes to this bracket. Mostly the North Carolina question is pretty big. And it's big in Big 12 country because, you see how they apply metrics differently. And I don't want to question Bubba Cunningham's integrity. I think that's kind of unfair, but I do think that there was he does make a sales pitch for them, and they are North Carolina.
Yeah. But
there's that. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, I think some of it historical perspective on things, and you got to understand the world needs more history buffs. Just in general, it would really make things go smoother in life if we had more people that knew history of anything.
What do you have to do to become a buff?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, you know what you have to do? Read a book with paper. Like that, you know. Or
that's illegal, Paul.
What?
That's illegal.
Or like an audio book. Garrett loves, I mean, how many audio books did you roll out last week?
None, but I've read 18 this year.
18 books.
18 audio
in 2025?
Yep.
18.
18?
Yeah.
Swear to God.
Yeah.
Wow, Garrett.
See, and guess what? Garrett is a learned individual.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I try.
Yeah. I mean, granted, some of that he erases with another thing, but
brain cells are hard to come by.
He would say enhances, but
well.
I think science is split on the issue.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Yeah, we'll get back to him on that.
Yeah. So, no, like, I really do. Like, if you gave me, like, okay, Paul, you can write up a law that we're going to pass right now, and I'm going off sports here. My law, because it would apply equally to people of all political disciplines and beliefs, is that we would have term limits, no gerrymandering, and, you know, like, we'd change, like, there'd be a lot of things we'd change, like, get big money about elections, we'd shorten the elections, and to run for office, any office in the United States, you have to pass a 9th grade level American history test.
Okay.
Like the final exam, the one with 250 questions.
Sure.
You have to pass it with at least an 80% or above.
Okay, I like that.
If you don't get 80% or above, you're out this election cycle, read a couple books, jump back in.
I thought you were going to say 75%. I said, no, that's too low. Oh,
80% or above. Like, you can't.
That.
Yeah, you can't do 51%. Like, oh, I got 51% of the question. No.
No, it's not a pass or fail. It's not a pass or fail.
You got to get an 80% or above. Yeah. I'll give you a 20%, like, you know, because there might be some things you miss that are, like, you just miss them, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, there needs to be also an essay portion, which would find out if you think, like, and here's my essay question.
Yeah.
Here's my essay question. It's a really easy essay question. Is Hitler bad?
Yeah.
And if you say no, I'm sorry, that's disqualifying. You don't even have to write a whole, like, here's the thing. The people who write one-word answers, yes.
Yeah.
That's the answer.
Mm-hmm.
Saying no, or if you answer, well, it's complicated, no.
Yeah.
The answer is yes to
Correct.
Is Hitler bad?
Correct.
Or was Hitler bad?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, like the damning thing is like, well, he didn't have good ideas.
No.
He did not.
No. Not good ideas.
No.
Those are quite bad.
Yeah. If the answer is yes, like, that's all you do. But if you see somebody, like, here's the thing, and we mark them, like, we have the proctor, like, you know, you turn in the multiple choice part, and then he gives you the essay part, which is one question.
Yeah.
And the people who write yes and walk right back up, they're getting that portion right. Now we have to grade their other part, but they get that portion right. The people who write more than yes, then done.
You're out.
That's it.
You're out.
You're out.
No.
Like, that would really call the herd of the morons and scary people a lot.
Even if you had an 80% or above on the other portion of the test, I think if you went with the no or it's complicated, I think that's an automatic DQ.
Yeah, it's not like it's simple. It's simple. You know, like, I'm not like, we'll just start with that one. I'm not going to get into the other world leaders. I don't want to
put too much weight on one question here. You know, I don't want to swing the entire test, but that's kind of a big one.
That is like, you know, you could rock out the other part and you're like, well, you know what? Sorry, you missed because it's also the easiest question. Like, if you miss the easiest question, like, that's a question that's easier than what is your name?
Yeah. Yeah. And some people get that wrong.
Yeah. Like, because what is your name? Like, my whole name? My middle name? You and I are Catholic, Pierre. We have confirmation names.
We do. It's true.
Yeah.
Yes.
My confirmation name is Peter. All right. You know, And I went like back and forth. Sometimes I think it's Dominic because that's what I was going to pick until I decided, you know what? My dad's name's Pete. Like, that would be really cool. I'm going to do that. My godfather, there's a lot of Pete's in my family. So that's what I picked, you know? So you got to go and pick a saint. So I was even like looking back, like, is it Peter? Is it Joseph? I really like Joseph, you know? My middle name's Anthony, so that like covers a bunch of Italian saints anyway. But
no doubt.
So even still, like, I liked Dominic because of Saint Dominic Savio, and you know he was the youngest saint, a sickly boy. But yeah, so those are the things, those kind of things. But even I, you know, sometimes if they said, "What's your confirmation name?" I'd be like, "Oh, Dominic," because really until like the moment of truth when they had me write it down, it was like a coin flip between Dominic and Peter.
Yeah, and I might, honestly, to be honest with you, I might get that wrong on a test if you ask me what my confirmation name was, because I absolutely do not remember. Yeah. I have no recollection of it whatsoever.
The only reason I've even remembered it is because I started thinking about it now and worked through it in my head. Like, I went back and worked through it.
That was quite a windy road. Windy road just now through Paul's brain.
I'm just saying. So, but if you asked me, is Hitler bad? My question would be, yeah. Hitler is bad.
Yeah. Really not that complicated.
Yeah. No. And here's what I'll tell you. And you're like, well, what about as an artist? I'd be like, bad enough that he became the awful dictator. So
as an artist.
So yeah, all Hitler things are bad.
Right. Yes. Like, correct.
Yeah. I mean,
even you, Ava Braun, we're talking to you.
Yeah.
Guilty by association.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, if you're gonna blow Hitler, you're pretty bad.
Yeah, you're bad. You're a bad person. Bad person.
So I mean, just like, I think those things are obvious. Yeah. I mean, I know other people don't, and like I'm scared. I'm not in the chat right now. I'm scared to go in and look and see if somebody's like, well, you know, like, no, like, this is not up for debate. It's bad. Like, I'm Stalin, also bad. Like,
I'm going to leave Garrett to the audio version of the comment section. Maybe in case he doesn't want to read them, maybe we get them out loud.
I'll dig something up.
Yeah. I'm guessing that nobody's going to like put in, I mean, I don't know. I would say that, but
dear God, I hope not.
I mean,
I hope not.
Well, Paul, you're wrong. Like, you know what? One time I talked about, what did I say? Well, anytime I talk about vaccines, there's an anti-vaxxer that pops up.
Oh, yeah.
The moon landing thing.
Oh,
we got like two different people from two different parts of the country watching the show that's like, oh, Paul has fallen for the government conspiracy of the moon landing. And I'm like, no.
I mean, yeah, that one. The moon landing one is actually kind of a fun one to like talk your way through, because I could be swayed one way or the other. I'm not going to lie. I could be swayed. I don't believe that it was a hoax. I definitely think it did happen.
Here's the problem with it. It sets up as a good story that was a hoax.
Yeah.
But to keep it a secret, you would have had to have like 20,000 people keep it a secret.
100%.
Like everybody who's ever worked at NASA.
Yeah, impossible.
Ever worked at NASA.
Mm-hmm.
Like, ever. For like the janitors at NASA, you'd have been like, guys, we know that this didn't, you know, and everybody who was there watching the ship go up, like, you know, all of that, like there's too much.
I already feel like that's a question on the exam that you're going to, and I think if memory serves me right, I'm waiting for Garrett probably to confirm this, but I'm reaching in the catacombs of my brain. I want to say it was June 20th, 1969, if I'm not mistaken, on the moon landing. Don't worry, I'll stand by as we continue to bore our audience with more meaningless facts.
They're not meaningless. Yes, you are correct, sir.
Yep.
There we go. Yes.
Come on.
Now,
coming to an office near you.
Are you ready to play Double Jeopardy where the money can really change?
I'm ready to go. I'm always ready. I'm always ready.
Yeah, Pierre wants to be ultimately a game show host.
Oh, without question. Yeah, no, I've known this. As much as I love sports, and I do love sports, there's only one thing that would get me out of the sports world. Somebody actually asked me the other day, they said, would you do news? I said, I don't want to do news, even though I probably would get paid more. But I was like, nah, it's not really my wheelhouse. Somebody comes to me with a game show, and it could be like a startup game show too. Something nobody's ever heard of. You put it on a game show network. Hey, you know what? We got a low budget for this. We're probably not going to pay you anything really for this, but you get to be our game show host. Where do I sign? 100%. Absolutely. I'm doing it. That is the dream job. No doubt about it.
Yeah, I do think you'd be really good at it. You know what I think we should pitch, and I'm gonna put this here now on the internet forever. So if they ever come up with it on their own, we can say that it was our idea. Do you do the immaculate grid? I think I sent it to you.
You have that's the one with like all the baseball questions and but you only get like one guest or something. Or what is it? You sent it to me. Yes, I've done that. I've done it before. Yes.
So what we do is we pitch this to MLB Network.
Yeah.
Beat the grid, where we get 3 baseball fans, and then they have like a panel of like baseball experts. And if you can beat that, like, and like we do it like there's two, let's say 2, because there's 2 segments in a 30-minute game show, right?
Right.
So say you and I are the 2 baseball fans, right? Mm-hmm. Then Emery and Garrett would be our 2 baseball experts, and they give us the grid, and we advance through the rounds and win money based on the answers that we beat the like old T.R. Sullivan, who wrote for the Rangers for a long time.
Right, I remember.
We just put an couple old grizzled baseball writers, or somebody like Bill James, like Ken Burns, like someone who like knows that like the minutia of baseball facts.
Oh yeah.
And then you just go through and play the grid and then beat them on down the line.
Oh, I love that idea.
And the thing is, they have grids. We could sell a version to NFL Network for football.
Yeah, yes.
We could have it all over the place.
I don't understand why the leagues too, like the NFL networks and the MLB networks, wouldn't come up with something like that, because it's original programming that you could keep in-house and sell instead of just rerunning Super Bowl 40 again for the 300th time. You have something that maybe could draw an audience to your network for a very different reason. Remember, Sports Jeopardy, when it first came out with Dan Patrick, was doing okay for a while. Then I think it went away. But I mean, I was watching that. That was the only thing that Crackle had on its streaming device was Sports Jeopardy.
Yeah. So I say, you know what? I know enough people who work at NFL Network. Let's, I'm going to do it. And then they probably know people who work at MLB Network. And we would pitch it to both of them, and they co-sponsor it. The football one's over here, the baseball one's over here, the hockey one, like they can do hockey,
100%. And it's not like
NBA.
You would just need to hire a couple of researchers and a host, and it's a very low budget thing. Low budget. Yeah. I don't understand why they wouldn't do that. This is a brilliant idea.
Yeah,
I love this.
It's low budget. It's great. Like when we get a whole bunch of things in the can, during the spring where there's nothing on, you just put a marathon on all those things.
Yeah. And the other thing too, people love trivia. They love it. Mm-hmm. They can't get it. People cannot get enough of trivia. In any form, whether not just sports, but in all forms, people love trivia.
Yeah. And here's the thing: the grid takes a second to do, so we give them a time limit.
Yeah, sure.
We give them a time limit, and while the time's going on, we put them in isolation booths so they can't see each other. They're not interfered with us. And then it's you, and then we get a fun baseball player like Kevin Millar.
Yeah.
Actually, let's say it's you and me, because this is a joint play. It's you and me are the host, and we have a fun player like Kevin Millar or Sean Casey or David Ortiz, maybe a different guest every time. Right. And then during
Any
that
other
time,
Red Sox you can name,
during the I did name all Red Sox, didn't I?
Yeah.
Don Mattingly, he's a fun guy. Wade Boggs, okay. Yeah, he's also a Red Sox, but fun baseball players. And then while the guys are doing the grid, we can tell stories about the people that they pulled up on the last round. Just little things.
I love it. You might as well copyright it now before somebody sees this and tries to do it themselves.
Yeah. I think I should. I think this would be big. You know what? I'm going to call Andrew, one of our producers' dads, John. He knows people. He knows a lot of people. This is at least $1 million idea.
Hey, listen, I'll gladly take the small cut to be the host. 100%.
Yeah.
100% I would.
Yeah. And we throw we get a lot of people, involved in this. Katie Nolan would be great to be a guest.
She'd be great at it.
Guest people, guest and do things, and let's have a blast with it. Yeah.
I love it. I'm fully on board. I'm ready to quit my job today, to be honest with you. Let's rock and roll.
Yeah. No. We'll have a cool studio, and
I'm in. Yeah. I'm in. Count me in.
Yeah. No, it's super cheap to produce.
Yeah,
super
100%.
cheap.
You just need to hire the researchers to think of the questions and come up with everything like that.
Well, and the thing is that the grid, like we just partner with Baseball Reference.
Oh, beautiful!
So they already have it. It's already there.
Easier.
It's already there.
Even easier. Cut out the middleman.
Yeah, boom. All right, they're involved. Everybody's making money. I am an idea man, Pierre.
I love it.
People need to the chains need to be taken off of me.
Yeah,
I've given 2 great pieces of advice today. 1, if someone asks you, is Hitler bad? You always say yes. And 2, the fastest growing sports game show across. I mean, the NHL has a network, the NBA has a network, MLB has a network, NFL has a network.
It truly amazes me how the U.S. government comes at a gridlock, some days when we solve the world's problems in 30 minutes or less on this show. Yeah. It never ceases to amaze me.
Bottom line, put me in charge for 90 days, and then I'll resign.
Yeah.
90 days.
That's fine. That's fine.
I'll resign. Yeah.
I mean, you get it done in 75.
Yeah. You know what? You know the other thing I would do? As president, every non-top secret meeting I have with a congressman would be on video.
Yeah. Yep.
Because I would ask them things like, oh, did you vote against this bill because this lobby gave you $1 million? And then watch them go, no, it's
Transparency is key. Transparency is key.
Because you'd be like, hey, why would you not want this? And then you go and the thing is, that's a nonpartisan thing too, because all of them have their skeletons in their closet. Like, hey, I noticed that you voted against this bill. It seems pretty common sense that we should do this. And it's because the people who would lose from this, the big evil, corporation donated to, $4 million in your last campaign. Interesting.
Isn't that something?
Hey, do you know what Truth Partners is? It seems to be a shell corp.
Yeah.
Can you tell me who they are? People donate to me. I don't know. They just like what I do, but don't want to say that they do.
It sounds like your own version of Doge, just on camera a little bit.
Yeah. I can just. You want to make things efficient? I can make things efficient because
no doubt about it.
Think about how honest you would be if your performance review came in for you were just in the room with your boss, but you knew on closed circuit TV that all your coworkers were watching.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. And the other thing too that people need to know is people make a lot of money off of things not running efficiently. That's why. Just always remember that.
Yeah. So you could be if you were at Fox 9 and hey, Pierre, we're going to talk about this. And they're like, hey, what do you think of Kathy?
Yeah.
Hey, you remember that time that you blamed Kathy for you being late or that piece not getting on the air? But we've gone back and it looks like, her email was sent at 3 p.m. And then you at 4 p.m. was like, hey, Kathy didn't get this in on time. And then you're like, oh, yeah.
That's something that is something that I think I would do to Kathy. Yeah, that's something that sounds like something I would do. Yeah. So I can't really push back on that.
I mean, look, she's problematic in other ways.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Here's how you get out of that. You know what? I heard about Kathy. She can't run for office because she said Hitler wasn't bad.
The end. I mean, what more do you need? That's the ultimate trump card right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Ultimate trump card.
When we come back, let's talk about Bubba Cunningham and North Carolina and West Virginia and the snub. This is the triple option.
To be your best requires commitment, dedication, and intensity. It's what defines elite athletes and inspires Airwave to find new ways to optimize your performance. Introducing Airwave Recovery, a mouthpiece designed to work while you sleep to further unlock your potential. Airwave Recovery features our patented, uniquely positioned to activate your tongue's natural response. Your tongue will instinctively move forward, opening your airway and improving your quality of sleep. And thanks to our patented fitting material and a purpose-designed support wall, you'll enjoy a secure, comfortable fit all night long. With Airwave Recovery, you sleep better and recharge faster. Airwave Recovery, recharge your potential.
Life will test you. It will turn your world upside down. Again. And again. And again. The only way to hit back is to stand up. Stand up every time. And say, I'm not done.
Escape into fitness with the Schwinn IC4 bike, providing a premium, heart-pumping indoor cycling experience that combines digital connectivity with superior Schwinn quality. The IC4's smooth, quiet ride features magnetic resistance with 100 micro-adjustable resistance levels, an intuitive resistance knob, a beautiful backlit LCD display, adjustable race-style seat, dual-link pedals with toe cages, and a pair of 3-pound dumbbells with easy-reach cradles. Place your phone or tablet on the media rack and keep them charged with the IC4's convenient USB charging station, extra-large dipped handlebars for premium grip, and dual water bottle holders for staying hydrated. The Schwinn IC4 comes with a slim, comfortable, Bluetooth-enabled heart rate armband that continuously monitors heart rate to help you stay within your target zone. But the best part about the IC4 is premium digital connectivity. Digitally immerse yourself in a world of virtual races, exotic locales, and stunning trails from around the globe. With connectivity to cycling and coaching apps like Peloton, Explore the World, and Zwift, with the Schwinn IC4 bike, you can ride with Peloton at a fraction of the price. Don't limit yourself to one digital experience. Pedal through dozens of scenic destinations, controlling your pace by speeding up or slowing down. Fitness was never meant to be put in a box, and neither were you. Escape the everyday with the Schwinn IC4 bike, your ticket to a life well lived.
This is 365 Sports, powered by Sikkim365.com. Welcome to the Triple Option. Here's your host, Paul Catalina.
Welcome back. Paul Catalina and Pierre Noujaim. And Pierre, the SEC is on quite a run of getting their way. And they got 14 teams, a record, into the tournament. Now, they're not even the most egregious offender when it comes to this tournament and people getting snubbed. But I want to start with them. They have 16 teams in the league. 2 of them did not make it. One of them is LSU, who is really, really wishing.
Terrible.
Really wishing that they didn't have to fire Will. Like, I don't think they wanted to fire Will Wade.
Oh, no, they didn't.
They had to because of the times. And then all the things that Will Wade did wrong are legal now. So it's like being thrown in jail for 25 years for jaywalking, and then jaywalking being made legal. Like, yeah, but we're still going to overturn. Like, you broke the law when it was a law, you know. So, LSU didn't make it, and South Carolina didn't make it. Those are the 2. And South Carolina is not going to go to the NIT because they're going to spend more time recruiting. So that's what's going on there. But Oklahoma and Texas, I don't believe deserve to get in. More Oklahoma than Texas. Oklahoma started 13-0, and they have some nice quad 1 wins in there. But then when they got into conference, they were terrible. Right. Absolutely terrible, and did not finish the season strong. if you'll remember a couple of years ago, A&M started terribly, also an SEC team, and finished really strong and didn't get in. Why didn't they get in? Because they didn't deserve to be in, because in the non-conference they were bad. I think that your entry into the tournament should reflect a balanced look into both parts of the season. And I feel that they set that precedent with A&M a couple years ago, which they should have. And then for whatever reason, because the SEC was so dominant with the 12 teams that absolutely deserved to be in, that they like extended that grace to Oklahoma and Texas. And had Texas not beaten A&M the other day in the conference tournament, they wouldn't be in. And if you're going to tell me a conference tournament win after all that, like, it's not winning the conference tournament. They didn't win the whole thing and get in. They won a couple of games. You know, that erases enough of the season. Texas, maybe, like, I can get there on Texas, but I can't really get there. I can't get there on Oklahoma, and I especially can't get there on North Carolina over UNC, given the fact that North Carolina was awful against Quad 1. West Virginia has what? Yeah, 1-12 versus Quad 1. West Virginia had those wins, and then they mentioned that Tucker DeVries is out. He's been out since December. I mean, that's not a new thing.
Right.
Then, okay, so they knew Tucker DeVries is out. Duke told them that Cooper Flagg is going to play. Duke told them that. They don't have to play him now. Like, they could say, oh, yeah, he's fine. He's fine. And which they would do because they want everybody they play, like the winner of Mississippi State and Baylor, to be like, oh, crap, Cooper Flagg's coming back. We have to prepare for Cooper Flagg. I would be more shocked if he plays this weekend because they don't need him, more or less, than if he did play. Like, or if he didn't. Like, I would say right now, I mean, especially in that first game, what's the point of playing him against the 16 seed?
Right.
Like, you know,
I could easily see him sitting that first game out. Maybe, I don't know if they wait long enough to hold him just for the Sweet 16. I could see him coming back for the round of 32.
Yeah.
But if Cooper Flagg plays on Friday, I would be highly surprised.
So they're just taking them at their word. But again, Tucker DeVries didn't get hurt in the conference tournament.
Right.
He didn't get hurt 2 weeks ago. He got hurt before they started conference play. He's not played one single Big 12 game, and West Virginia still made it through pretty well. They beat Iowa State. They had really good wins on the road. Like, North Carolina had none of that. Mm-hmm. And the thing that makes it really shady, and I get it, Bubba Cunningham, you have a constituency of fans and alumni that you need to answer to. But it's almost better for you in the long run and North Carolina if you had just said, no, like, take us out of this equation. Like when you're talking, like, he has to leave the room when they're talking about North Carolina, but he's still there. You still have to look him in the face and say, like, hey, you're not getting in. I know you're North Carolina and you're basketball royalty, but let's face it. And part of this, I think, is the natural thing of like, oh, if we don't get in, then I'm in trouble because I just gave Hubert Davis this big extension in December. Like, we're tied to him. Like, I have to now go sell this, which he's still going to have to do regardless.
Yeah.
Because there's a great shot that they lose Tuesday night in the play-in game.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing. Oklahoma didn't even get put in a play-in game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, Xavier really shouldn't be there either. I think the two teams that have the biggest gripe are West Virginia and Boise State. I understand that Boise State's schedule is not as good as everybody else, but they have a great record. They've won a bunch of games. Like, at least put them in a play-in game over Xavier. Like, what are we talking about here? And I know Xavier's in a basketball conference and Boise State's not, but Boise State's about to be in the Pac-12 next year, and that name, is not going to carry the same weight, but people will think that they're better because of it.
I mean, the Mountain West Conference got 4 teams in. I mean, the Mountain West Conference is not it's not some pushover conference when it comes to college basketball. They've got some good teams, and I think Boise State was certainly deserving of being in. I'm exactly where you're at. You couldn't have said it better, and this is going to be boring podcasting. I'm sorry for everybody. I'm exactly where you're at with Texas and Oklahoma. I was shocked that they would, at bare minimum, wouldn't be put in a play-in game. Texas, I'm with you. I was like, Okay, because I was watching the game against Texas A&M, and when they beat Texas A&M, immediately my mind was like, well, this win is probably going to get them in, but it's silly that this is what's going to get them in because the entire resume just doesn't really stack up to really get you in. Now, if they had won the next game and gotten to the SEC tournament championship game, like made a tournament championship game appearance, then I think that definitely pushes you across the finish line. But with where Texas finished, I'm not surprised that they're in this spot that they are right now because, but Oklahoma, meanwhile, the fact that they just were kind of gifted a 9 seed. And let's be, the funny part about it is Oklahoma's going to play UConn, and UConn is having themselves a little bit of an up and down season too. Oklahoma could possibly win that game.
Yeah.
So that it's the fact that Oklahoma got in without having to be put in a play-in, I think was a little bit surprising to me.
Yeah. So look, there are several very elite SEC teams. I'll give you 3 super elites, one on the cusp. Auburn, super elite. Tennessee, super elite. Florida.
Yeah, you have to. You can't argue it. You can't argue it.
I liked it. I mean, not that I wish anybody get hurt, but when Lincoln Logan, Luftgarden, Lugenflagen, I'm not going to say his name right. I know it's disrespectful, but
yeah.
But when he got hurt last year, they were cooked because they didn't have the depth. And then they went and got, like, they got players, and they got deep, and they got good. Like, they just come at you in waves, and God damn it. I mean, then, okay, then their coach is in all this hot water over a Catalina investigation that's gone away now. That's all I'm going to say about it. It's not there anymore. And so they came through that. And he's an excellent coach, and they're a really good team. And I didn't know if I could hate anyone more than I did those 2 teams with Joakim Noah that won.
Oh, yeah. Those are good. Yeah.
But, like, I feel like I might be able to hate this one even more.
Good.
Although, like, no one's as insufferable as Joakim Noah.
I like Joakim Noah. I do.
Yeah.
I think it was him.
You know why? Weed.
No.
That's why you like him.
I think it was him. Al Horford. Was Corey Brewer on that team too, I want to say. Yeah, I mean, those are some good teams. Those are some good teams. I can't lie.
Yeah.
I noticed that you didn't mention Alabama in
Alabama's in my set. I think they're just not. They're good. Like they're tough out. They're tough out.
That's the thing with Alabama. Alabama wants to go out and score 85 points plus and try to beat you that way. But the thing of it is too is like they play absolutely zero defense, and you saw what happened against Florida over the weekend. Was just my goodness. I mean, Florida really took it to them in that game.
Yeah. So, like Georgia's good. A&M's good.
Yeah.
Ole Miss is good. Missouri's good. Arkansas's okay.
Yeah. Boy, and it makes me think, especially when I was there, in Waco, my time, the Big 12 basketball was. I absolutely thought it was the best conference in America for a few years.
Look,
there.
I think this year was still the second best, really.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
I think the Big Ten, honestly, is Michigan State and maybe Wisconsin and everybody else.
Yep.
Like, there's nobody there's really no one else in that conference. Like Purdue
can
Purdue's
be
good, but they're missing an elite. Like they're missing their elite players, which I have no doubt in my mind that they will have in a year.
Yeah,
but
sure.
This year they just don't have. They don't have Zach Edey. They don't have like some of the guys that they had that moved on to the pros. So that's a great program. But like right now, like Michigan, like they won yesterday and they're fine. Like they're still probably a year away from being scary good under Dusty May. Wisconsin can score a bunch. They're really good. But Michigan State's a team that I can see in the Final Four. They're like I was shocked. I was shocked they didn't win the tournament with their eyes closed, to be quite honest with you. But but things happen in the tournament. Like, they didn't need it. Like it's hard to like go there and tell guys like they were going to be a 2 seed probably no matter what.
Yeah.
No matter what, they're going to be a 2 seed.
Well, and I know that, Ohio State too is not just going to sit idly by and just stay neutral. Ohio State has had its moments with some good players in their program in the past. And Ohio State's not just going to sit around and let Michigan and Michigan State and all these teams, and Purdue even too, just continuously bypass them in men's college basketball. So I expect Ohio State to be a player at some point, in the near future. But yeah, you're right. And it's funny too, because I hate the Big Ten basketball conference as a whole because they play such a boring brand of basketball for the most part. So, Illinois was a team that was really good at the beginning of the season, and they're a team that fell apart late in the season as well. So,
I'm discounting Maryland. Maryland's also good, but
Maryland's good, yeah.
But I the top 4 or 5 teams in that league are fine, but after that, I think Oregon could be sneaky because Dana Altman's just so good at the tournament.
Yeah.
But when Amanda and I were watching that game yesterday, I was like, "Are you bored?"
Big Ten basketball is boring, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was like, "Are you bored?" And she's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "This is why." The only time I ever watch, I'll watch Izzo anytime. I love watching him. And then there's programs that'll come along, like the last couple of years, Purdue's on, watch Purdue, like those kind of things. But for the most part, I will skip the Big Ten until yesterday.
Yeah.
Historically, and the only reason is they're on directly before the selection show.
Yeah.
So I watched the SEC game, and we watched that one. Even we were out and watching it on the phone. Too. And I won't tell you what I'm doing because the chat room is going to call me a sissy, but I'm going to tell you, I was getting a mani-pedi.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That's mighty bold of you to admit.
Here's the thing. I'll admit it because it's wonderful.
Sure. Yeah.
You've done it, Pierre? You done
it? I was bamboozled into doing it once over a decade ago. I didn't get the mani. I said, no way. Am I doing that? But it's like I got them polished, but I got my cuticles taken care of. It's lovely. You do get a nice little foot rub.
Hey,
that's true. It's not bad.
The little Vietnamese lady that does it is fantastic.
Yeah.
Her name's Tina. There's a bit of a language barrier, but we get along great.
Yeah, sure.
So no, it's wonderful.
No judgment here.
Hey, you're about to get married. It's going to happen, buddy.
Yeah,
there's going to be things where you're going to do it. And here's the thing: you find the right one, it'll work.
Oh, 100%.
It's very lovely. It's very wonderful.
Would you allow me to derail us? I know we're up against the clock. I just want. There was something on my mind that only probably interests me that I just had to get off my chest.
It probably interests me as well because we have similar thoughts.
It just the Cincinnati Bengals signed Jamar Chase and T. Higgins last night, right?
Yeah.
Okay. T. Higgins is a phenomenal wide receiver. Don't get me wrong. $30 million average for a quote-unquote wide receiver 2, knowing he could probably be a wide receiver 1 on a lot of different teams. The sack production that Trey Hendrickson has had over the last couple of years, those guys don't grow on trees. And the fact that Trey Hendrickson was not prioritized, not above Jamar Chase, but he wasn't prioritized above T. Higgins, and Cincinnati risks the possibility of possibly losing him, infuriates me to no end because that type of sack production cannot be found just around the corner. And Trey Hendrickson is a phenomenal football player that deserves to get paid and paid very well. And the fact that the Bengals nothing to take away from T. Higgins, but T. Higgins, no disrespect, you can replace a wide receiver 2 a lot easier than you can replace a guy who comes up with 17 and a half sacks every single year. That drives me nuts, and I don't feel like there's enough conversation about that.
Yeah. You know what? We're going to go into that next week, Pierre. We're going to go into the mistakes that people make in that. Garrett was even nodding his head, and he's an LSU fan.
He's 100% correct on T. Higgins.
Yeah, he's right. Yeah. I mean, and Garrett would normally say, give Joey B what Joey B wants.
He needs that defensive help, though, man.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. Don't put it all on him, right? Okay, quick question before we go.
Yeah.
Do you want the Vikings? Is there a perverse part of you that wants the Vikings to sign Aaron Rodgers?
Yes, 100%. Yes, I said it on our show last week.
It's a gigantic mistake if they do.
Yeah, sure.
It's taking what is a great locker room right now, a great locker room, even though they lost Sam Darnold, who I know is part of that. It's taking a great locker room of guys that love each other, and it is bringing in the weirdest son of a bitch on planet Earth that you have it's an unknown. And here's an unknown how he's going to affect the locker room. It's unknown how they're going to perform in the field with him. Worse, he's not good. He's done. He's cooked. He's done.
As Michael Caine very, very well said in The Dark Knight, some men cannot be bought. Some men just want to watch the world burn. And that is
that's
me.
Aaron Rodgers.
That's me. That's me wanting to see Aaron Rodgers come to Minnesota. That is me. Because I'm sitting here and just watching the crash come my way. And I just want to stand back and see everybody absolutely lose their minds. It would be nonstop entertainment for me.
I cannot judge you because the night the Cowboys drafted future Hall of Famer Zach Martin.
Yes.
For about an hour.
Yes.
Smokey and I were on the phone, both pissed, even though he's not a Cowboys fan, but both a little pissed that they did not pick Johnny Manziel.
I remember.
Because, oh boy, that would have been fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't have been good, but it would have been fun.
That's what I'm here for. Whether the Vikings are good or not is of no consequence to me. I just want my job to be entertaining in the meantime.
Yeah. No, I can't. I you know what, Pierre, if it does happen, I'm glad it'll happen for you, buddy.
Oh, I will be. You see the smile on my face? I would be so excited. I would be so excited. This is going to be fun.
Yeah. That's going to do it for us. You'll see Pierre next week. We're on tomorrow, but not on Wednesday and Thursday because we'll be at Big 12 Pro Day. Maybe we tried Wednesday. We might be able to try, I don't know. We might be a little bit blocked out. The NFL Network has an exclusive on times that you can be live. So anyway, we'll have to figure that out. But we're probably not on Wednesday and Thursday because we're not allowed to be at Big 12 Pro Day live until 3 o'clock, which we will be live. But NFL Network has a corner on that because they've got, priorities. But
they're not doing game shows, unfortunately.
But guess what? I'm going to corner them and be like, listen, I got the idea of the century for you.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's going to do it for us. Later on, it's just me and Smokey today. I forget what we have. It's too late to talk about it. We've got stuff to do. We'll see you next week, Pierre.
See you guys.
All right, that's it. See ya.